What's going on, everybody? Hopefully y'all are all doing good out there. It's your boy Bees coming back at you guys with yet another video. The clutch in the Z is starting to slip. So I've been wanting to replace the clutch in the Z, especially on my build that I have coming up, which I'll give you guys more details on later on in the video. The clutch that I went with is from this company called Uniclutch. It's actually like a modular clutch system. This clutch can fit multiple different cars. All they need is a different adapter ring and stuff like that to be able to fit onto the motor. So this comes in very handy and let's say swap cars or anything like that. I'm always on to looking for new things that are pretty cool or whatever. It is actually a twin disc clutch and it's cheaper than what some other twin disc clutches would be. I actually got this clutch for less than $1,000 and that included clutch disc, but there's also an adapter ring that fits onto the motor. Each clutch has its own little unique QR code on it. That way you can scan it and it tells you all the information about your clutch that you order. They'll specifically test each clutch and tells you its torque capacity and things like that. I think the torque on mine was rated, the testing torque was up to like 800 something foot-pounds of torque. Now of course I'm not going to be anywhere near that, but that is going to be perfect for my application. I need to go ahead and get the Z up in the air, that way we can start getting the transmission off of the Z and getting this new clutch on. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started.
One eternity later.
After much fighting, we finally have the transmission down. That's the good news. There's bad news. While trying to get the transmission off, I was moving the clutch fork, right? Yeah, this guy right here. See that? That's not supposed to do that. It broke off. So now I'm going to have to drill that out and remove that, order another pivot fork. But yeah, the transmission's off. We have a factory clutch. I'm about to get ready to call it a night because I am tired from doing all this and I need to order parts. So I will see you all once those parts come in. Alright guys, so it has been a few days since the last time I was recording. I was having severe problems getting the transmission separated from the motor. I don't know what was causing it to be so difficult coming apart because it should not have been, but I struggled getting that transmission off. So I had to order some parts. The parts are in now. Off camera, I went ahead and removed the clutch that was on the motor as well as the factory flywheel. And when I say that these things are cooked, bruh, these are cooked. This thing is donezo. The rivets were definitely exposed and going into the pressure plate. We got a bunch of heat spots in the pressure plate. And then the flywheel, this thing's cooked. And before y'all say anything, no, this is not from me. Like, okay, there might have been a couple clutch kicks in there from me, but that's not for me. Like, I'm pretty sure that this was the original OEM clutch that was on this motor from the factory. I'm glad that I went ahead and decided to replace this clutch now because this thing would not have survived through the end of the year. Like I said, it would not have survived. I have never messed with a dual mass flywheel before or whatever, but it seems pretty loose. I don't know if that's normal or what. With that being said, that leads me to this pile of goodies that I have right here. I didn't know at the time until obviously that this happened, but that can be a common thing that happens with the early models like the 03 and early 04s, which mine is an early 04. They have a weaker pivot ball as well as a stamped clutch fork. Pretty much I got my bolt extractor kit here Shout out to Amazon. So hopefully this works. I didn't have one here at the house. I went ahead and replaced the throwout bearing, ordered me a new slave cylinder. Here is that upgraded clutch fork that I was talking about, which as you guys can see is much beefier than the factory one. Here's the factory stamped steel crap, and here's the upgraded Z1. I also went ahead and ordered a lower as well as upper clutch lines. I'm gonna replace the lines that go from the master cylinder down to the slave cylinder. I also got a replacement dust cover that goes in the transmission that the clutch fork, this covers that up. Also, we have this baggie here, and that baggie has, of course, our copper washers. This is for the clutch fork right here. That's for our clutch line right there. So here's the new chromoly pivot ball, which is definitely looks a lot better than what the factory POS was that broke. That washer goes underneath here. I'll show you guys when I put everything together. And then we have a new spring for the clutch fork and the throwout bearing to attach to. So this is Z1's nodular steel flywheel. It's the same weight as the factory flywheel, but as you guys can see, there's kind of like some rust spots on it, which is normally not a good thing, but the Uniclutch, it does not matter how the surface of your flywheel is. Basically what I did was Z1 had some blemish flywheel, said, surface rust, maybe some scratches, and it was heavily discounted. So I already knew that with the Uniclutch, it does not really matter how your flywheel is because it does not use your flywheel surface to create friction. So the goal now is to go ahead and put the flywheel onto the motor. Then after I do that, I will go ahead, assemble the Uniclutch. We'll drill out the broken stud that's inside the transmission and get ready to put this thing back together because I'm ready to drive my car again. I'm gonna stop talking, we'll switch over to the GoPro and get ready to put this flywheel on. Alright, so here we are looking at the Uniclutch unit itself. If you guys notice, we have two separate boxes. In the box over here, we have the clutch itself. Then over here in this box, you have, which is basically the fitment ring. So this ring bolts onto the clutch, which then bolts onto the flywheel. Then inside of here, so you'll have your different spline adapters, which are in here. You have some lube, your different spacers, and then you have the bolts that bolt the fitment plate onto your Uniclutch. It also has a QR code that tells you that you can scan for the instructions for it, but they also provide some instructions here as well. I have found the spline that I need for my transmission. Basically, I took this out, slid it onto the splines of the transmission, make sure that it goes in, and then we go ahead and just drop it down into the Uniclutch itself, and then you use a C-clamp and that holds down in there. So I'm gonna have to go get some pliers to do that real quick.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
I'm not gonna lie guys, I am so bad at myself and fatigue has something to do with this. So for the last hour I've been fighting trying to get this clip inside of here. It looks like that they were putting in like this, right? And that's how it drops in. That's wrong because it will not allow it to slip down there far enough. So instead of installing it with this little section that's cut out or whatever, like the smaller section up, flip it down. So that way this smooth side like this is facing up and you're looking at it when you're installing it onto your Uniclutch. So basically it should go like this and drop in, not like this. But anyways, we got that installed, so now we can go ahead and assemble the rest of our fitment kit on. Alright guys, so originally I was trying to route it like how the factory line went through that grommet there. That did not allow the clutch line to be long enough. There's another hole down here that basically just routed the clutch line down through there. Once it came out from there, I pretty much just was able to secure it and down that way. So basically we're at the part now where we can actually be able to put the transmission back onto motor and get everything buttoned back up. I'm not going to bore you guys with all that process of it. So yeah guys, the next time I see you all, we'll have the Z back together and it will be on the ground. I will see y'all here shortly. All right, what is up everybody? We are in the Z now. Everything's back together. So I drove the Z to work today. Since I got everything back together, I figured I'd go ahead and drive it out just to get some test it out, make sure everything's good. And guys, everything with the new setup feels great. Like the clutch feels way better than what the OEM one did, and everything is just like dope. So I had to adjust the clutch pedal due to having the upgraded fork as well as the upgraded pivot ball. Clutch feels really nice, the pedal feels good. I just have to get used to how the pedal feels now, and that's just due to changing out the clutch line to a stainless steel one, which eliminated the dampener that would be on the clutch line. So like the pedal feels it feels different, but in a good way. Like it's definitely a lot softer. So the Uniclutch is a twin disc plate or a twin disc clutch, but it doesn't even have any like chatter or anything like that, what you would normally get from a twin disc setup. It doesn't even sound like or feel like it's an aftermarket clutch in here. Like it feels just like OEM or better than OEM pretty much. Now what I have to do is, this is recommended, and this is also a thing that I do, is I always just make sure I break the clutch in properly. So I need to drive, even in their instructions, they recommend driving 500 miles before you even like get on it or anything like that. So 500 miles like city driving, just to make sure that everything's good. No aggressive driving, you know, just gingerly going through the gears and things like that. So that's going to be the boring part of having to wait until my clutch is broken in. Some people may not believe in breaking in clutches. This is just something that I always do, and like I said, it was also in the manufacturer specs as well. Oh yeah, also too, so I didn't talk about the fluid that I added into the transmission, but I added in Redline MT85 into my transmission, and the transmission feels so much smoother now, like shifting the gears. Like it definitely feels, it doesn't feel as notchy. I don't have to press hard on the clutch pedal at all. Like it's super soft, but in a good way. You know, I don't want to have to feel like I'm freaking kicking through a block wall or whatever in order to press down the clutch pedal. Like, you know, it feels just like OEM. I did take it around the neighborhood first just to make sure everything was fine. You know, this being on the first drive, like being away from home, you're always nervous whenever you do something to your car, especially, you know, something like a clutch. I mean, although I've done many clutches before, it's just you never know what could happen. Like, did I forget something? Is something not going to cage properly? All that type of stuff. I'm confident in my abilities, and I'm just really happy that everything's working out. But I'm on my way back to the house now, guys, so I will pick up the camera once I get back to the house. Alright guys, so I've been driving the Z here lately, and we are almost at the final break-in point. We're at about 393 miles right now, so we're like 107 miles away. So I'm hoping by the end of this week, that should be when I'll finish breaking the clutch in and we'll hit the 500 miles. So I'm excited. I can't wait for that. Everything still feels great. It still feels flawless. I'm very impressed with this clutch still, like I've previously stated. I have no problems whatsoever with it. Would I recommend it? I'm not going to say 100% I would recommend it just yet, because I have not put any power down with it, because I'm still in the break-in stage with it. Once I finish breaking in 100% and I put some power down, actually do some pulls with it, then I can give my 100% opinion on whether or not if you should buy this clutch. But as I'm stating right now, I feel like that this clutch is a great option, especially if you're trying to make some more power, in which, yes, here pretty soon, your boy is going to be making more power. I actually plan on boosting the Z this year. This is also why I've been wanting to get the clutch done and get it broken in, is because the sooner I get it broken in, the sooner I can start tearing the Z apart and start building the turbo kit for it. I plan on fabricating my own rear mount turbo setup, so hopefully everything goes good with it. I've already been talking back and forth with the tuner. Once this is broken in and I start building everything, then your boy's gonna be boosting the Z. I'll give you guys more information on that later on as more progress develops on it. But going back to the clutch, I didn't tell you guys where you can pick it up from, but I actually picked mine up from Napa. I forget the actual price for it, but I'll go ahead and annotate it like right here. But I do know that I was able to get a discount on it from Napa because I found a coupon code. The Napa was able to ship it to me, I think in like 2 days or something like that. It didn't take that long for the clutch to come in. Some key takeaways on the clutch. I like how you don't have to resurface a flywheel. There's no clutch alignment tool needed for it. Like, if you guys replaced a clutch before, you know that you have that alignment tool that you have to put in to make sure that everything is in alignment. And you don't have to do that with the Uniclutch because everything just comes packaged together. You just basically put on your Fitbit kit, put it onto the motor and send it, and you're good to go. Hopefully you guys found this video informative, and hopefully I was able to put you guys onto a new product that could be pretty useful to you guys. If you guys have questions, please make sure that you drop them down below in the comment section, and I'll be reaching out to you guys with any questions that you may have. I'll be so dope if we get the clutch broken in and we get to 500 subs. So hopefully I can give you guys some great content so that way you guys will want to stick around and subscribe. But with all that said, I hope you all have a good one, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.